Hi, welcome to Chat Speaks, where I speak on things relating to politics, faith, culture, and things related to motivation. And today I have Shawnee with me, and we have been trying to connect, but our schedules have been uh, not being able to collaborate, but we finally found time to get together. And we're going to get into some issues. We're going to get into some issues regarding the debate. What do we think is going to happen? If it's going to happen? Some things related to what's going on in the culture, Hunter Biden, the emails, and then we're going to also talk about Shawnee's new YouTube page, which she recently started. But before we get into all that, please remember to share, like, subscribe in the description page. If you would like to support my page, I'm going to put my Teespring store as well as my PayPal link. But let's get into this. So, Shawnee, how are you this evening?
I am doing great.
Good. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um, I'm born here and raised in Dallas, Texas, all my life. But I'm just a young voice, a conservative voice. I've come into my own the last, I'll say, 4 years, and I'm just wanting to just spread information that would be helpful to someone as it has been helpful to me.
So, for those 4 years, were you kind of like me, where you were writing with people or around people who were talking about conservatives or Donald Trump and F Donald Trump and blah, 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 but just didn't say anything? Or were you verbal in your beliefs? Or were you just kind of like, he, but never really responded or got involved in the conversation?
Initially, I was one of those just silent, supporters. I didn't say much. I wouldn't really voice my opinion, but I would just laugh a lot, just knowing inside, of course, hey, I am one of his supporters. Uh, my grandparents and I, we have a lot of conversations about President Trump. And my grandmother, still to this day, does not believe that I'm a Trump supporter. She just thinks I'm just like being comedic or funny about it. But I was like, no, grandma, I am. So we have good conversations, my grandparents and I. My grandfather, he loves to debate, and it just makes for good times.
So even though, well, your grandmother doesn't think that you really support Trump, and your grandfather loves to debate, they haven't disowned you or kicked you out the family or anything like that.
Oh, absolutely not. No. They just know, as you get older, of course, you just come into your own, you develop your own ideology. So, quite naturally, I mean, it's going to happen. My grandparents, of course, would love for me to be a Democrat, but I've explained to them why I'm not. And I just kind of took on their political views and how they feel about the Democratic Party. But of course, after doing my own research and later finding out that it's not a party that was really in favor of us,
Right.
even from times of slavery, I had to cut them loose. I had to walk away.
Really? So did you vote for Obama?
I voted for Obama the first term because I hadn't yet converted over.
Okay.
His first presidency, I did vote for Obama. And it was merely because I was happy to see an African American to be run for presidency and then to later get elected. So, yes, I did vote for Obama that first term.
It's funny because like there's like four black people that you don't talk about in the black community. Talk against. That's Obama, Oprah, TD Jakes, and Tyler Perry. You talk about them, you may have a cross burning in your yard in the morning. So, but you really don't talk about Obama. So, I didn't vote for Obama either term because went and looked and saw what he voted for as a senator. But so when I started coming out recently, like I started asking people, why did you vote for Obama? And they were like, well, and what it came down to was he was black.
Yeah.
But and even
Yeah.
when I speak with white people, they're like, well, we just wanted to break racism and we thought that that would do it. So we voted for him. Nothing about policy, nothing about ethics, morals, or anything like that. But I did speak with a lot of people and they say I voted for him the first term, but I didn't vote for him the second time.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that find that amazing when I talk to people like that. And a lot of times when I ask them why they didn't vote for him, they're like, well, he lied about all this hope and
Mm-hmm.
change. Our jobs went away. He brought in some extracurricular activities. He just didn't, he wasn't really helping the Black community. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of different reasons why they didn't vote for him, but the main reason was they said he lied. He
Right.
didn't do what he said he was going to do. So when Hillary and Trump came, so okay, so who did you support when in 2016 when we had all of those um, options to vote for, or were you going for Hillary?
No, I wasn't going for Hillary at all because at that point, I was not supporting anything the Democratic Party was about. My convictions kicked in at that point, and just doing my own personal research, there was no way that I could keep continually to vote for those same policies, and it
Right.
wasn't even directly affecting me. Not that I vote because it directly affect me, but just anyone that I know or just past experiences. I mean, I feel like we just have always given away our vote instead of holding these people accountable when they say they're going to do something. Then, in all actuality, once they get elected, they pretty much kick us all to the curb because then it's about their agenda and what they want to do pretty much at that point.
Right. So who were you going for in 2016? Were you always going for Trump, or were you going for like Ben Carson, Ted Cruz, Carly Fiorina? Which one were you going for?
I would have to say initially I was open to hear what the Republican Party, what they were offering, who was going to probably ultimately be the candidate. So I was open. At that point, Trump wasn't even really in the equation. We really didn't know. I really didn't even think he was taking it seriously. I thought at some point he would just say, you know what? I'm done. I'm going back to my normal life.
Right.
Okay, so no, I'm not going to do any of this. But as time progressed and time, went by, and then I'm listening to him and what he's saying. Of course, he did not speak like a Obama because Obama, I would just consider him to even be a career politician at this point because they all have the same jargon. They all sound the same. They're very polished and they could just say anything to make you feel at ease, which they just really telling you what you want to hear.
Right.
Trump, on the other hand, it was altogether different with him.
Right.
So much so that I felt like the more I listened to him, the more I started to like him because he was just, hey, this is who I am. I didn't have to guess. He would let you know how he's feeling or how
Right.
he feels about a situation. I just felt like he was more upfront and personable than most past politicians because in all actuality, Trump was not a politician. He was
Right.
always a businessman. So he came with a different vibe. He just brought more, I felt like, to the table because he was well-rounded because he had been around the politicians. He knew some of the things they were talking about and some of the things that he felt that wasn't even right because he's been talking about politics for a long time. This is not anything that he has just all of a sudden woke up one morning and decided, hey, I think I'm gonna run for the presidency of the United States. No. I mean, he did an interview with Oprah years ago,
Yeah.
and even the things that he said then make sense even today. So I think as time progressed, I was open initially, but time progressed and then he became the ultimate candidate. I said, you know what? I can get on board with this. After listening to his policies, what he was going to actually do if he was elected. No, it wasn't. A lot of people didn't like it because it was different. Some of the things that he was saying as far as immigration, just having America first. It's about we have to take care of home first. And even as, growing up in the church, we talk about, you have to take care of home first. How can you really help someone else if you can't, make sure your house is in order initially?
Right. I mean, just like when you're flying, they say if there's a incident or a crash or something, that you take care of yourself first and then help everyone else. I remember he did an interview, and this was after he became president, and he said he told his wife, I'm gonna run for president," and his wife was like, "Well, you know, if you run, you're gonna win," and he was like, "I know." So he was always
He spoke it into existence, huh?
right, but there was so I really didn't pay attention to. I mean, I voted for him, but I really didn't pay attention to what he was doing until quarantine. But I always knew that I liked him, and I remember my friend. She was like, he was in Dallas, and I kicked myself for not going. But I really wasn't that into politics. I mean, I've been into politics, but I really wasn't focused on that. And she was like, "You want to go to the rally with me? I have an extra ticket." And I was like, "I'm not about to spend the night outside to go see the president." But now, if I knew he was coming this weekend, I'd be like, "I'm there.
Right.
I am going to."
I would too with my Trump hat on.
Right. I mean,
Because the only place I can wear it is in the house, for
right.
obvious reasons.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think that that's so sad. I posted on my Facebook page today a story of this young lady. I won't tell her name. She graduated in 2017. She said that she woke up one morning and just discovered she was a conservative, and she didn't know that. She said she was popular and all that, so she was like, "Hey, I'm going to support Trump." And she said that she got beat up. She was bullied so bad that she had to eat her lunch in the bathroom. That she went and reported things that were going on to the cops, and they ignored her. The teachers called her out because she would challenge them on what they were saying. And she said, "I never thought that it would be this way." And
Wow.
that, she said, she said, "I pray for you and your family. And I pray that, I can get the strength because I want to speak out." But she said, "I'm just too afraid." And I wrote her back. I said, "Oh my God, I just want to hug you."
Yeah.
That makes me so upset that happened to her. And that's not the only story. I have a friend on Facebook, and someone on the left, I guess they knew that she had a son that was deceased. And they were like, "Is your son going to vote Republican this year?" I mean, just just evil.
Sad.
And if I was to decide to go back to vote Democrat, why would I want to be on the side of that, of such
Right.
evil, of such hate, of such intolerance? I
hmm
interviewed my friend Esmeralda yesterday, and she said that she went to a walkaway rally here in Dallas. I was actually in Memphis when it happened. And the left is supposed to be tolerant and all that. So when they found out that she was part of the walkaway, they told her to go back to Mexico, go back to her country. And she's like, "I was born here." But that's just the hypocrisy
It is.
of that side. And it's just evil. And I can't stomach it. And I put it on my page. I said, if you condone this, or if you think that this is okay for this young lady, or for anyone to be treated this way, just because they vote for either their Democrat or their Republican, or even if they just support Trump, because a lot of people who support Trump are independent, they're Democrat, they're they just like his policies or whatever. I said, "You're evil." And
Right.
it's just, you're evil. If you think that should happen to someone just because they have a wrong or a different theology, and you think it's wrong, so you beat her up. Oh my God, I was reading that, and I just literally, I was like, I wish I would have been there. I mean, like, but
That's
where
really sad.
it is, I'm like, but where were her parents at? But her parents may have been Democrats. I don't know, but I wish I could just wrap you in my arms and give
Yeah.
you a hug. But that's not, in those two stories or three stories I just shared, those are not the exception. Those are what happens to people
hmm
who come out.
hmm
And that's why the polling's wrong. If someone calls up someone's, they got your phone number, they got your
hmm
address. "Are you voting for Trump?" I'm voting for Biden." Okay. Who's going to tell that
Right.
information?
Right. And it's funny that you say that because I'm sure that's what's happening. I mean, now they're sending out text messages. I received one today actually, and they asked me, "Hey, can we count on your vote for Joe Biden and Kamala?" And it's another local politician that's running here. I responded, heck no, Trump 2020.
See, they don't send me those messages. I never get those. My friends get screenshots. I'm like, I never get them.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing it. I've received so many, and that's how I respond. But it's really unfortunate that people can come out like anyone else. This is America. You know, we have these freedoms and liberties to do these things, freedom of speech. But it's really sad that people can't really truly voice their political beliefs if they choose to. Um, it's just really sad. I know for me, my Facebook page initially, I didn't talk about my political beliefs. I have unfriended, blocked so many people, since like posting anything Trump related, anything anti-Democrat because of their policies. I mean, I've been called a coon. I've been called all sorts of names. Initially, it did hurt, but over time, I'm like, it doesn't matter. I don't care, how you feel. These are my personal beliefs. I'm not going to attack you, and I see people post things all the time about Biden. I never go on there and call them anything other than their name. But as a Black conservative, as you know, we have it really hard, especially on social media. People will just go in and you will feel like, oh my God, like, why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? Why are you angry at me for having these beliefs? I'm not angry at you, but it's just the climate and time that we're living in that people are just so angry. And it seems like a lot of the anger, as you said, is coming from the left.
It is. I mean, if you do something like that, if you terrorize someone because they vote a different way, I'm sorry, you're evil. You're evil, and I will call you evil, and I will call you out. And if you go on my page and say something like that, I will call you evil or stupid. Because some of the stuff that I told my friend, I said, I wish, because I don't curse, I said, I wish sometimes I curse. And she said, I have a feeling that you curse in your mind. She goes, have you? And I said, have you seen the stuff that people put on my page?
Right.
What? I mean, it's just crazy. And
it is.
they're thinking they're all smart. And me and you have tag teamed up with people, and they just come with the, well, Trump's gonna be in jail. And I'm like, well, I said, I will bet you anything that Biden will be in jail before Trump is. So when you voted for Trump, did you tell anyone, or did you just kind of keep it secret? Do you have like any conservative friends that you can like that you hang out with, that y'all can talk about things of substance, or has it just kind of been like a lonely journey?
Actually, for me, it has kind of been like a lonely journey, only because I don't have a lot of conservative friends. Even a good friend of mine's here recently, she posted something about being an Uncle Tom. Even though she was talking about someone else, but it was because this person was a Trump supporter. So for me, I felt like, okay, if you would say that about that individual, is that how you feel about me? And I actually did respond on there. I said, so do you feel like I'm an Uncle Tom? I said, have you even researched who Uncle Tom was?
Have you read the book?
Yeah, she said, where are you getting your information from? I said, you can Google it. I said, you can get the same information.
You should send her the book.
I should send her the link to it. But I sent her an article so she could read it.
So did she say, okay, well, you're not an Uncle Tom. You're a different, you're not an Uncle Tom, but this person is? Or what was her response? Did she say?
Her response was, when I asked her, I said, so is this how you feel about me? And she said, well, where do you get your information from? And I just said, you can Google it and you can get the whole story, how a book was written and everything. And she just said, okay. That was it. Okay. Because, like, what more can you say? Because I'm sure she probably did quickly go over to Google and Googled it. And she just responded back with, okay. So for me, yes, it has been a lonely journey. I do know a few individuals that are conservative. So I would have like conversations with them, mostly online, social media and things of that nature. But sometimes you have to take this journey alone, but, meeting you through social media and everything and a few others, I mean, it has been great because I can have these conversations online with individuals like yourself and others, and I don't feel like alone. Like
Oh yeah.
nobody else feel the way that I feel. So it's been good for that reason.
I remember I was outed by someone very close to me to another friend of mine that was like a sister to me. And um, she was like, "You voted for Trump?" Because I don't go around just telling my, now I don't care. But back then I'm
Mhm.
like, you know what, I respect who you vote for. Who I vote for is who I vote for. And so I remember she sent me an email saying, "You need to remember who you are, that you're black, and no matter how hard you try to whitewash your life, you're still gonna be black." And I remember coming home from work, and I got this text message, and I sat on the floor at the end of my bed, and I just started crying because I was like, I can't believe that someone that I looked up to as a sister would talk to me like that. And I cried for like maybe 30 minutes, and and then I was like, I have a really good friend, and I was talking to her about it, and she said, Chaz, if you're going to do this, if you're going to, and this was even before I started this YouTube thing, she said, if you're going to be really about speaking out, you're going to have to get a thick skin.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
said, I know, but I just couldn't believe that someone
Right.
was that close told me that. I've never judged her, never judged anyone for their political beliefs, but that's not the same. And so I have a friend, she's not black, she's like a sister to me. And I have to explain to her that the Democratic Party in the black community is thicker than blood in some instances, that you will lose your family over
Yeah.
voting for someone. And she's just like, "Well, I don't understand it. Me and my brother have different, views, but we laugh about it. We talk about it. He hates Trump or whatever, but we're still brother and sister." I said, "That's not the way it is in the black community." And it's like, when you're born, when you come out black, it's like you get a stamp of Democrat on your head, and it's like today. So it's been hard. It's been lonely.
Mhm.
But like you said, like I had seen other black conservatives on TV. Like, of course, I watched like Larry Elder and the conservative twins, mainly because they're really cute. But and Brandon Tatum and things like that. But I'm lucky. I do have my sister friend that I can talk to, share memes with, and we go out and hang out and all that kind of stuff. And I can talk to her about stuff that I can't talk to even my blood family with. So
Right.
but I've noticed that ever since I've opened up my mouth, so many doors have been open, like going to Washington, D.C. and meeting all these people and interviewing all these people. And I just know it's like, when God closes one door, he opens up another.
Mhm.
When he,
Mhm.
and these people that I'm meeting, like with you and with my other friend, Tiana, who you'll meet on Sunday, we have so much more substantive conversation. And I don't have to tiptoe around uh, that I voted for Trump, or that I'm a conservative, or that because my thing is, if you're a Christian, it seems like you should all be like on the same accord.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
I
let's look
feel too.
at that. So what do you think about the churches closing down and all this kind of stuff during COVID, and not really speaking up about us losing our rights, like just everything? What is your thoughts on? What are your thoughts on that?
Initially, like we didn't know. No one knew like what was going to really happen. This was like a first pandemic for all of us. I mean, I've never in my generation, I've never gone through anything to this magnitude. So I think initially we were trying to get more information and figure out like how all of this going to work. The church the same way, and I can understand that.
Right.
But then as time progressed, and then time progressed, and you're not giving us any updates, like we can go to the grocery store, I can go to work, I can pretty much go anywhere, even down to the mall with a
Yeah.
mask on, but I can't go to the house of the Lord with a mask on. I have an issue with that. I really do. I have an issue. I have an issue because if the church is supposed to be the voice, I mean, to stand up and say, no matter what, we're going to still serve the Lord. I mean, I understand like initially everyone was doing the online services, but what is keeping us now from going into the house of the Lord, especially now that we have the numbers? And if you, not that anybody want to catch COVID, but if you should, catch the virus, then you will probably most likely live from it. There's instances where people do unfortunately die because they have like underlying issues or whatever the case may be. But like, what is the issue now today? If we can go anywhere, why we cannot enter into the house of the Lord? I have an issue with that, and not standing up for Trump. I mean, he's pro God. He's pro God. Like, how much more can you expect of a leader? Because with the Constitution, there's a separation of church and state, but he still talks about God. He even said Jesus not too long ago when he was up in a rally, and they were asking. I think he was just talking about the most famous person, and people want to say he is, but no, he said no, it's Jesus Christ, and he said I'm nowhere close or could even be on that level. But even the church, you have even pastors speaking against Trump, and I don't understand that either. But Biden has never said anything about God, has never said anything about the church other than want to keep them closed. Like what's currently happening now in California, they have the worst restrictions ever. And for what? They don't even have high numbers of individuals dying there, but they have the worst restriction. They are really hard on the church there. It's a church that I follow, John MacArthur.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and has been to court several times just to keep the church doors open. They didn't even tell their people they could come back. The people just came back and said, no, we're going to have church. And that's how I feel. Like if I was in California, that is the church I would be at, because I mean, no matter what he said, he's going to still preach the word of God. That's what he has been called to do, and it's what he's going to do. And he is displaying that. He said, now the government, now you crossing a line, because now you're over into God's territory, and he's standing up for rights regardless of what the government has to say. If he has to go to court, that's what he's going to do. But I have a problem with local churches here and where we live in Texas. They have not opened. I have a serious issue with that.
I have a serious issue with it too, and a lot of it is, a lot of people don't want to talk about, is one, that 501c status, and two, a lot of these churches get kickbacks from the Democratic people, so that they're like, a lot of these churches are gatekeepers to the Democratic Party because they get huge kickbacks from the Democratic Party. And so this is what I decided. If my church is going to stay closed, I'm not watching Zoom with the church that I could just go down the street with. I'm going to go watch someone else on Zoom. I'm going to watch a different church. Like, so I follow Bill Winston out of Chicago. And he's opened back up his church. John Hagee, I don't even think he closed down his church in San Antonio. Have you ever watched him?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, he's like saying that.
Yeah, he's awesome.
A lot of like hellfire and brimstone, but he does bring a lot of good information. But there's a lot of these pastors that just won't bend. And my thing was, okay, if you are going to close, then why aren't you fighting for? Why aren't you going down without a fight? Like Planned Parenthood is open, liquor stores are open, and states that sell weed are open, are able to do business. Those are considered non-essential. And you're going to let the government tell you that you're not essential. And that's why I just say, I was talking to someone earlier and I said, there's 3 remnants in the Bible. One is the remnant of Israel. Then there's a remnant of the church right now. And then there's going to be a remnant in the book of Revelation that is going to, when they get left behind of their rapture, they're going to help proclaim the gospel. But we're the remnant. We're the ones that are standing up. We're the ones that are saying, wait a minute, why are you doing this? Like, I have spoken to so many Christians who are like, they call me radical. They're like, you're a little bit too radical. I mean, even guys who tried to talk to me that go to my church are like, well, wait, hold on, wait, hold on, you're getting a little bit out there. I'm like, no, Jesus never said go make a contract with the state or the government and go for and the thing about it is the church has already had a nonprofit status with the First Amendment. But then the government was like, okay, hey, we'll give you something extra if you don't call out if you don't talk about politics. So I have a real problem when pastors start talking about, but let me be careful how I say this. I'm like, why you gotta be careful? Jesus
Mhm.
wasn't, he just said the truth. It
Right.
is the truth, is the truth. And a lot of these pastors are leading a lot of these people on a wide path to hell. And
Yes.
I
Yes.
I mean, even when I'm doing something wrong, I know I'm doing something wrong. I may skip hop by the church, but I'm not trying to change what the Bible says about what I'm doing. You know, the Bible says work
Right.
out your own salvation with fear and trembling, but the church is supposed to be the watchman on the wall. And the Bible says when the watchman on the wall is supposed to look and see when the sword falls, and if the sword falls and it destroys the people, then the blood is on the watchman's hand. And these churches are complicit in the in the sword falling. They'll stand up for Black Lives Matter, but they won't stand
Yeah.
up to the government saying that we can't go to work, that we can't go to church, that we can't sing, that if you sing in a certain consonant that it's going to spread. That they don't stand up, and they're cowards. And I don't care,
Yes.
a pastor that has been preaching for 20, 50, 30, 4, whatever years, and you've been to seminary, you're hermeneutical and all that kind of stuff. Just because you got that education doesn't mean you have that revelation. At some point, you have sold out to the state if you're not teaching the pure word of God.
Yes, and I totally agree. I totally agree. Like you said, we even have a church here locally that has a Black Lives Matter sign, huge sign on the church building. And I'm like,
Wait, I think I know what church you're talking about.
yeah, I'm like, Jesus matters. I
Right.
mean, like, and this is the thing, if they have really truly been called of God, he already have you covered. Like he said, if you die for my name's sake,
Yeah.
you're already covered. So
Yeah.
I don't believe that a lot of pastors, they are truly called by God. That's the only way I can view it, because their actions is not aligning with the word of God. Not that the word has aligned with us, but we're supposed to align with the word. And so for you to be okay with not having church service, I have a problem with that. And I mean, I just have a serious problem with that. And you should even question, or you need to get down on your knees and ask the Lord to help you to have more trust and faith in Him than in man. But a lot of these churches will not tell you as well. The reason why their doors are remaining closed is because when they were giving out their money, they gave our money also to the church as well. And that was the condition to remain closed.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
I
I
can
didn't
send you
know
an
that.
article. I can send you an article.
Send me the
That
article.
is a matter of fact, it even have the church's names on it.
Really?
It's public information. Some of the largest churches here in Texas, and I won't call their names, but they're on the list.
Send me that article, and I'm going to link it below. But you know, one thing I have noticed that these churches haven't stopped doing, asking for tithes and offering on their
Oh
little
no,
Zoom.
that's not gonna stop.
No, I'm like, mm-mm. I just, you know, because you do have to be careful where you plant your offering and tithe. And I'm just over it. So, but okay, so let's talk about your page. What is your YouTube channel about?
My page is more, it's informational, just pretty much talking about current political topics that's kind of hot, that may be trending. I'll make a video about those things, but it's pretty much informational. I will put, like some funny videos on there that I've made, and just for laughs. So you have some serious topics, but then you also have some where you can laugh too, if you want to do that too.
I think you should put that one that you did. I think you did it for TikTok.
Which one?
Uh, about the WAP.
Oh,
You're like to open up your Bible.
oh, yeah. Okay. I will. I know I put one from TikTok on there, is because someone always asking you the question, who are you voting for? Who are you voting for? To the left, to the left. Yeah, I put that one on there.
I don't even know how to use TikTok. But It has been a pleasure having you on. I know you're going to be back on again. We're going to do a um, like a little panel of conservative women and just talk about hot topics and talk about this current events, talk about what we thought of the debate. Well, before we go, what do you think of what's going to happen at the debate? Do you think it's going to happen, or do you think that it's going to be stalled, or do you think Trump is going to behave?
No, I think of course it's going to be something to watch, and I think we will be thoroughly entertained. I just don't like the rules, because it's a debate. So like if you're debating someone and then someone want to like interject because they feel as though you may be saying something that's wrong, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't have a problem with that. But the new rule, they're going to be able to mute their mics. So they're going to give them 2 minutes to speak on the topic or whatever the point at that moment, and then they're going to mute the other person's mic so they can interject or say anything during that time. That's not a debate to me. That's not a debate. Just let them be free to say whatever it is they need to say. And they don't like the topics either, because they don't even, out of the 2 debates they have had, it's going to be the second one. They're not going to even talk about foreign affairs, which I believe is really important, because then we can bring up Hunter Biden.
Trump's
It's not going to be discussed.
Yeah. So, but I think this may be good because then we get to see Biden stumble out his answer. So, but we'll see what happens, and we'll be back on here on Sunday with you and some fellow other ladies, and we'll discuss the debate. We'll discuss some other things. I'm so excited that we're all getting to be together. There's not I haven't seen a lot of, there are conservative women out on the internet, but I haven't seen a lot of them. I've seen like Patricia Dixon and of course Candace Owen and like that, but I'm not trying to be like them. I'm trying to be like,
Right.
So I just want to bring a voice. I want to use my platform, although it's still small, to other voices and to other ideas. And, we don't have to think thought, but have to be like a group think, but we still have the same values, morals, and the same goal, which is Trump 2020. So,
Right.
all right. Well, thank you, Shawnee. And I'm going to link your YouTube page below. And again, thank y'all for watching. Again, share, subscribe, like, comment below. What did you think of this conversation? What do y'all think of the debates? Y'all think it's going to be fair, which I don't think it is. Do y'all think that that Trump is going to behave himself? Is Biden going to remember that he's running for presidency, or is he going to say he's running for Senate for the 4th time? Comment below. And again, thank y'all for watching. Have a good evening.
Bye.